Yo, what's going on, guys? Lance Edgel here. You know what's good. So anyway, guys, like I said in the last episode, we're going to be working on the 33 today. We're going to put a clutch in it. So just going to go through a few of the steps of getting the gearbox out. Hopefully get her out by tonight, but if not, it's my weekend. So I'm just going to have to hustle and try and get it out and get the flywheel machined and all that to then just get it out and get it back in. So anyway, we've got to get the 31 out. So she's all good now, hopefully. Just a few small tweaks here and there. Should definitely be ready for our next drift event. So the R33, she's out there. So we're gonna go bring her inside and then we're just pretty much gonna jack her up and get stuck into it. So it's just hit 5:30 now, guys. I've got a car meet to go to with some mates at 7. So I definitely want to see how fast or how much I can get done within those next hour and a half or so. So definitely be a good thing to see how quick I can or can't get this out. So we'll get stuck into it right now and yeah, we'll just try and hammer it out fast. Alright guys, so we're just getting stuck into this. So the car's jacked up, but I like just doing this first off. Just pulling the boot off here, so you've got 1, 2, and there's another 2 on the other side, if you can see them. Just disconnects the shifter from the actual box itself. The shifter will still be a part of it, but I just find it's better to do that first so you don't forget it later, and when you start yanking on the box, everything can come out smoothly rather than you being like, oh, why isn't it coming out? But anyway guys, so just those two. Mine had 2 screws just behind the ashtray. Yours may not. These are like cars that have been touched a lot, so but there'll be definitely those 4. So anyway, I got those out. So I'll start undoing the box from underneath. Start with maybe bell housing bolts and tail shaft and all that jazz. So we'll get that stuff started and I'll start getting into that stuff. Alright guys, just to give you a quick update, I've been really cracking on with this. So the exhaust came off, so this will sit under the car. I took it off just before the catalytic converter because I found that if you took it off from there, it just leave that little bit in the way, and leaving that on, you're just taking off those 2 bolts rather than if that would have to be removed anyway. So it just gives you that little bit more extra room. So just those 2 bolts there. And then these are these little hanger things. You'll see, actually here's one here, little rubber grommet, rubber things that will that hang on something like this inside the car as well as on the exhaust. So pretty much what I find the best way to do is hit it with WD and then try and slide it off. Pretty much, yeah, so that's pretty much most of the exhaust off. We got half the tail shaft off as well. If you can see, hold on, I'll go from this side. Oh, do a quick run around, let's do it. Alright, oh. So it's the back of the gearbox. So where that tail shaft sat right there. So practically you just hold the handbrake down and crack the nuts, and then preferably it's better if you've got someone, but if you don't, pretty much you can do 2 at a time. So you do 2 of the bottom ones, crack them, take them off, pull the bolts out, and then get up, go do the handbrake, do the same thing again. Preferably when this comes out completely, we'll start maybe putting some rags in there. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to leak or not. Some boxes do, so I just put a rag there just for good practice. Most boxes you can usually keep the fluid in it. Up to you if you want to take the fluid out or not, or even better yet, this would be a great time to change the fluid. So anyway, been pretty much got some of those bell housing bolts off as well. So as you can see, one there, there's a few underneath. We took off the slave as well, so there's 2 bolts holding it. Just I wedged it up in there just to, it doesn't weigh that much, but it's just good practice to anything that hangs on a rubber hose, practically just hang it up out of the way. So yeah guys, this is going really smooth. been at it for less than an hour, so really easy, guys, you know, and I'm just gonna keep going at it and give you a bit of an update when I'm a bit further on. Just got the gearbox out with the help of Mr. Podboy over here, so thank you very much, Mr. Podboy. So anyway, yeah, it was pretty self-explanatory. That starter motor, you can't even see it. It's right down there. I'll get it back in. When we go to put it back in, I'll show you in a bit more detail. The gearbox came out. I found, though, the shifter was hitting the well in there. So I found taking the shifter out is really easy. So you just use a pair of pliers, get them in and spread out the ring, and then that pretty much pulls out. So if we go around here to the clutch itself, definitely had a hard life. As you can see, it's heat soaked and whatever. It's really, and that's quite bad. Like that's yeah, it's definitely been clutch kicked or whatever. You can actually see, I don't know if it's going to pick it up on camera, some of the bits where it's like rainbowed a bit, where it's scorched it. The actual clutch isn't too bad. Yeah, not bad condition. I think it's an aftermarket actual clutch with just a normal standard what do you call it? Pressure. Thank you, Paul Boy. Pressure plate. So anyway, guys, we're gonna go get this machined. We're done for tonight anyway, but we're gonna get this machined tomorrow. And then I'll put a bit more detail into putting it back in, like putting the flywheels, bolts back in, and getting this all back together and cleaning everything up. So once that's all done and it's got machined, I'll catch you guys back up and we'll start chucking this bad boy back in. Guys, so the gearbox is all freshened up now, so as you can see, all in there, nice and clean. We've got a nice new bearing in there, so she's all good. We've taken this off, the actual fork itself, just greased it up and whatever, and yeah, pretty much ready to go back in. We're just gonna put some grease on this input shaft. I checked out the sprocket bearing. I've tried to get it out, but you know, these things happen and you can't seem to get it out. So I've checked the clearance and thing and making sure it doesn't get any scoring, and I think it's pretty alright. So we're just going to run with it, change the bearing over, greased all the fork and stuff, so get ready to put her in. So try and force this bad boy in and see if we can get everything bolted up. Alright guys, so as you can see, the flywheel's on. So we just torqued those to 100 foot-pounds of torque. We found that would be like the best solution, the best middle ground. As you can see, there's a little bit of rust surface on the actual flywheel itself. You really want to prevent that when you do this, guys, but you know, sometimes it's just inevitable that it can happen. Nothing too bad, just make sure there's no grease, really try and clean it up as best you can. And yeah, so pretty much going to get this clutch. We can put the alignment tool in the little sprocket right there, just that little hole there, and get this clutch lined up and start putting this clutch together. Alright guys, so as you can see, gearbox is back in. Just going to pull those rags out and put the tail shaft up. Practically pretty much the same as what it was last time, you know, just really cracking on with it, getting it all done. Everything went smoothly. I just looked back and I found out that I didn't actually show the clutch I put in, so it's a 6-puck. But yeah, the thing actually going in it is a 6-puck, so I definitely have a video of me just going over it and stuff, so I'll chuck that in at some point in this video. So practically all we got now is the tail shaft, the exhaust, and other than that, she pretty much is good to go. Just a few little bolts here and there. Because the actual top shifter is actually off the gearbox, we're going to actually just fill it up from there and just open the drain plug, open the filler plug, and then pretty much because you can get a lot of fluid in at the top and it doesn't have to require a lot of pumping it into the box and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna get cracked into this, guys. Sorry guys, I didn't film a lot of the stuff. I brought the transmission jack over and stuff and just got it all sorted. It's just really hard to film that type of stuff because it's all moving around, and it was just been a bit of a pain in the ass to get in, if I'm completely honest. So, but yeah, cracking on with it. Should be done in the next hour or so. I've got a meet to go to tomorrow, so I want to really get cracked on with it and get it finished tonight. Preferably drive her around and put some kilometers on the clutch. But definitely I'll catch you guys once this stuff's finished up. I'll go put some fluid in her, and I'll definitely give you a review. First, like, thoughts on what the clutch feels like and stuff, and just general feeling of what a ceramic feels like compared to an organic. I've never driven a clutch with one, so it should be interesting. So I'll get cracking on with this, guys, and I'll catch you guys once this is done. Alright guys, just a quick update. Just a word of advice: if you are filling these up, you can fill them up from the actual gear stick themselves. Like, once it's out, you just pour the fluid of the gearbox into it. Another quick thing, that snap ring that you see right there, you can see one of the holes, really holds the shifter in. So all you need is a pair of like snap ring pliers. Literally, it's a lot harder to get it out than it is to put it in. Literally takes 2 seconds to put it in. It's a bit awkward to take out. Once that's in, holds the shifter in nice and stiff. So anyway, I'm going to put this housing back around and pretty much be ready to start her in a second. Alright guys, so it's pretty much all done. The clutch is in. We're just going to pretty much go out for our first drive. I went out for a little, just a shakedown yesterday, just to make sure everything was good, but now we're going to start properly putting some kilometers on it. So I'll get some footage of me in the car, just talking about how it feels a little bit, and we'll catch you when we're in the car. Well, we're already in the car, but we'll catch you when we're on the road. Alright guys, I can't really see the screen, so I hope it's recording. But anyway, I just found an open bit of road just on the freeway now, cruising to a meet. So first impressions of the clutch. Look, when I was first driving it, they always say bed in the clutch, and you know, some people will argue the fact, you know, drive it for a full tank of gas, which can be anywhere from 300 to 500 kilometers, you know, letting it bed in. The clutch itself says 1,000, you know, so you've got to take it with how you feel, and you know, really just, I mean, the longer the better. But within the first 5 to 10 minutes after it, like, even bedding in just a little bit, being on the ground and driving around just around the local neighborhood and some back streets, the clutch really started to bed in. You're feeling a lot more through the pedal, you know, and that really goes to show that, you know, the bedding in process. I'm not saying it's fully bed in by any means, but it's definitely starting to bed in a lot better. Now, being a ceramic, it's definitely not as bad as I thought it was. I mean, so far it's been okay. You do get a little bit of like a clapping noise at very low RPM, or when you're trying to take off, because it's not really meant to sit on the flywheel, or like, it's kind of like an on and off sort of system. And you also notice the clapping, I call it clapping, noise when you're very low in the RPM, say if you're bogging the engine down very slightly or something like that. But all in all, so far guys, you know, I'm really liking it. You know, the pedal feels good. You know, if it got a bit stiffer, I wouldn't even mind that either. But compared to the other one that was in it, not really that much difference. Maybe about 15 to 20% more pedal heaviness, but... Alright guys, that's going to be it for this one. So what we ended up putting in was a single plate extreme performance clutch, which should be good for about 560 Newton meters, or to 600 Newton meters of torque, but only time will tell if it'll hold up to that. So anyway, pretty much like I said in the bit before this, the clutch feels fine. Really a lot easier to drive than what I thought it would be. But anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. We've got some more stuff coming out. I've got some more stuff in the works, like a bigger turbo, Spitfire coils. Going to get it retuned. We also recently just did a drift day again in the 31. So there's definitely a lot of stuff coming out with that. So we're trying to get some better footage and stuff for you. So I'm putting something together as we speak. Pretty much though, just out here just trying to make shit work, really. Like nothing too fancy to it. This stuff's cheap. I think it was $340 delivered to my door through an actual proper shop. So I was able to call them, ask them questions and stuff, and at the moment this will be enough for what I'm hoping for. In the near future, will we need to go bigger? Possibly, but at this moment in time, it was cheap. I wanted to see how it would go, and that's pretty much how we're doing it. So anyway, guys, that's it for this one. There's going to be plenty more drift videos of the 31, plenty more installs on the 33. We're just going to keep pushing forward and trying to make moves. So anyway, guys, that's it for this one. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy, guys.